This is Sunday Focus, a weekly public affairs program that looks at the topics affecting our society and the people who are making a change in the community each and every day. The people who have vision for the next generation. Sunday Focus presents new challenges for us, keeping you informed with topics of local and regional interest. Now the host of Sunday Focus, Christine Manica.
Good morning. Coming up on this edition of Sunday Focus, we will be talking about the 605 Unity Jam this June in Wagner. If you're looking for an event that embraces culture, music, art, and food, there's a special event in Wagner happening on June 11th. It's a day of learning and understanding other cultures in the state of South Dakota. Dana Sanderson, along with Wagner High School students Sabrina and Jennifer, joined the show to talk about the organization and the 605 Unity Jam on Sunday, June 11th. More details can be found on the 605 Unity Jam's Facebook page. That's all coming up on this edition of Sunday Focus. Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you? Yeah, you can swing around the mic. Go for it. Say hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, thank you so much for making the drive up here to come chat with us today. Now, let's get started with first things first. Tell us about 605 Unity Jam and how this got started.
Well, it all started off with a simple conversation. I was talking with some folks about how there's no place to play music anymore, those kinds of things, and pretty soon it turned into something more. And we started talking about culture, and I had been a counselor at Wagner School for 40 years, and I had come away with some thoughts and opinions about the community and those types of things. And I said, you know what we need to do is need to find a way to start working together a lot more than we did in the past. And this idea then grew out of that. So I put a group of people together, and we all knocked everything around, came up with a title because we decided unity was probably one word everybody would understand. And the more we talked, basically what ended up happening is I made a comment that I think kind of said everything. And I said, I've been in the school for 40 years. And I've lived in the community, and what I've watched is an awful lot of people from the white community and the Native community spent a lot of time over those 40 years pointing their fingers at each other, blaming each other for all these different problems that were out there. I hadn't seen how that helped anything. So I talked about that, and then I went to the Yankton Sioux Tribe leadership, told them how I was feeling, and they agreed with me. So I went to the Chamber of Commerce, and I talked to them about this same thing. And everybody was in agreement that we need to do something more than just point fingers at each other. And so then we came up with this idea. And what brings everybody together? Music, food, dance, those kinds of things. So we decided, let's use that as a way to get everybody in the community to come to one place, one day, do something together, and let's get everybody to help in doing it. And so what ended up happening then was we came up with a variety of activities and ideas, and then how can culture be understood by somebody who doesn't know anything about those people? The same issue is true for whether you're a Czech person, Hutterite person. We have some Mennonite people who have been interested in what we're doing, and a lot of Native people. And since I was an Indian counselor for basically 40 years, I had a lot of people I knew, asked them for help, and next thing you know, we got an event. The one thing, though, that bothered me was the fact that you can put an event together, it sounds really good, everybody's for it, everybody goes, and in a couple of days, you don't remember you went. So the value disappears. So what can we do to make it last? And that's how we ended up with all the things that we're doing.
Yeah, I want to go back with what you said, how you noticed issues and just conflicts between the community. Does this date back a while, something that you've noticed always, or is this within the last couple of years? Because one was the 605 Unity Jams. When was it created? When was the first one?
3 years. Well, this is our third year. Mm-hmm. But I came to Wagner in 1975, and life was a lot different then. And so my job was to try to help students go to school, finish, get a future, those kinds of things. And I got to know an awful lot of the families over the years and became friends with a lot of families over the years. And when I'm retired, I have this time to start looking at, well, what can we do about some of the things that I wished were different? And that's kind of how this all came about.
Yeah. What's the purpose of the 605 Unity Jam and the event?
In the end, it's about bringing people together, taking a chance to maybe get to know that person. Most everything we're doing with our event is tied with having to work together as a partner, which isn't always that easy to do. And probably later on, as we're talking, we'll explain what we did to try to make that happen. Mm-hmm. And just getting everybody together for one day to do one thing together. And if you can do one thing together, maybe you can do a second.
Yeah.
That's what this was about.
Absolutely. Does the 605 Unity Jam have a mission statement or pillars? Because sometimes a group or event, they follow some sort of mission statement in mind. And my guess is unity, community, anything involving just getting together.
Well, probably one thing, and we talked about this on the drive here. Mm-hmm. If we had time to say one thing, probably we would focus on the fact we want to increase cultural awareness, understanding, acceptance, and an appreciation of what other people are about.
Yeah.
So everything's built around that.
It's interesting how you say, stuff is way different from what it was back in the 1970s. I kind of want to get Jennifer and Sabrina's thoughts on it right now. So, Sabrina, I'll start with you. Why don't you go and introduce yourself again really quick and say why you got into the 605 Unity Jam, and also something that you've noticed between cultures today from when it was when Dana first noticed it.
Well, my name is Sabrina Krieber. I am a junior at Wagner Community School. And the reason why I joined the Unity Jam was because I really like helping people, and I really enjoy seeing people really happy and just seeing everyone get along and having all the culture together, and just a lot of traditional things that some people don't know that are from different cultures. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Okay, yeah. Jennifer, you can go next.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Barnett. The reason I joined this committee is, well, when it first became a thing, it sounded exactly what I wanted in the community. Those are things that I'm really passionate about: music, art, and culture. Those are the three things that I love most. And oftentimes in this community, I didn't really notice us coming together. There's always been a kind of a wall set up. Even though I had many Native friends, I feel like we never talked much about our cultures, and the school didn't set up many things to encourage that, especially with music and art. The main focus is sports at our school, and so I loved having this opportunity where people could come together through music and art, and it's an event where we can celebrate each other's differences, which is super powerful to me, and I'm so glad I can be a part of planning this event where we celebrate that. So those are my reasons.
Yeah, awesome. If you are just listening right now, I'm being joined in the studio with Dana Sanderson, and he also brought Sabrina and Jennifer. They are talking about the 605 Unity Jam in Wagner happening on Sunday, June 11th. I gotta ask, and Dana, maybe you can start with this one first. Does social media make a difference when it comes to understanding culture and when it comes to not being so ignorant? I hate to put it bluntly like that, but seriously.
I think it helps and hurts at the same time. It's an opportunity to tell people and share ideas, but it also becomes a source for people who want to strike out at somebody else who's different, and they want to hide behind social media to do it. So it's good and bad at the same time. So that's kind of a hard question to call it out. But the thing is that in the end, it is what we have, and that is what people do. And so I'm a big believer in trying to find out how you can make tomorrow better than yesterday, and try to find every way possible to do that. And social media is going to play a role in that, whether we want it to be there or not.
Yeah. Jennifer, I'm going to ask you that same question too. Does social media make a difference when it comes to understanding culture today?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, because I feel like the source of judgment comes from lack of understanding, lack of knowledge. And through social media, I feel people are more exposed, which is one of the benefits of social media. Even me, I can learn about other cultures around the world through social media, and bringing it to attention. Through that, it's a great resource that we use. And it'd be kind of hard nowadays to try to get that information out without that resource.
Yeah. Sabrina, same question for you too, because look, I may be young, but even social media from back in my day, it's changed so much. I mean, before TikTok, believe it or not, there was something called Vine. So it's basically like a copycat of it. But yeah, Sabrina, same question. Does social media make a difference when it comes to culture and understanding?
I think it does, because a lot of people, I say, don't understand some culture. They're like, why they do it and what it's for, and like stuff like that. And social media plays a big part, because I say that if you wanting to get to know more cultures and stuff like that, it will help you understand better. But at the same time, you can't always believe it, because after all, it is social media. Mm-hmm. So some of it could be false and some of it could be true. I don't know.
No, I think it's a tough question. That's a good response. I want to say to Dana, it's great to have Sabrina and Jennifer not only on the committee but in here to talk about this kind of stuff, because with social media nowadays, you can get 605 Unity Jam out there in the public and for people to understand what you guys are all about. Is that kind of what your jobs are, just to kind of get it out there on social media?
Well, the thing is that I'm going to comment on the student piece. When we first dreamed up this idea, because I've always worked around students, I've always felt that students have an awful lot to say, and sometimes they get overlooked. And we talked about this on the drive down here, that sometimes our expectation isn't real great when it comes to students. We a lot of times we'll dismiss what we think. And last year, for example, I had students, hardest working group of people I've probably ever been around. They did a fantastic job in everything. I had great ideas, because in our particular group, I want the future is going to come from students. I mean, that's where our future. Everybody else has done whatever they've done, and time's running out on the rest of us. But the thing is they've got all these things that they can provide, ideas, interaction. And the first thing, I don't know if you guys remember, but I said, you're going to have the exact same right to have an idea and do everything as any adult. So at no time are you going to be treated differently because you're a student. I think that's why we're in our third year. First year, a lot of people didn't know what we were even trying to do. Couldn't understand it. Mm-hmm. But that's an advantage of where social media comes in. People have a chance to kind of see it a little bit. Now, if we bring this up in the Wagner area, for example, if you've never been to it, you at least know about it. That's all because of social media. And so there's some real advantages here. And of course, the advantage that I see is these students are able to do things I can't even begin to think about, and they've got ideas and solutions.
Yeah,
that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, trust me. I see kids nowadays, and I'm like, I'm tech savvy, but not some of the stuff that high schoolers do, college kids, even 7-year-olds are doing. I don't understand it, but something that I do understand is a community bringing everybody together, and that's what the 605 Unity Jam is all about. Again, it's Sunday, June 11th in Wagner. Now, there's something called the Unity Buffalo that people can see if they go to the event. So, Dana, why don't you tell us about the Unity Buffalo?
Well, when this idea first came up about the Unity Jam, I went, like I said before, I went to the Chamber of Commerce, and I also went to the Yankton Sioux Tribe Leadership. And I talked about how this idea may be fine and dandy, but the idea is going to pass. And then how do we keep reminding people? Well, I'd been out to Custer, and I'd seen Buffalo on Main Street in Custer. I saw how many people came to see those kinds of things, and that's something that could happen in Wagner. People could go, because I think Wagner is kind of a unique area, and it is because the people, I think, basically have reached a point where most of the people are glad to see each other. We live in a really, in my opinion, a friendly community, great school, those kinds of things. Well, when it came to coming up with an idea, I said, hey, we could get Buffalo like they have in Custer. We could take and have a coloring contest. So I made pictures of a buffalo, went to the school, talked to 5th grade students, because 5th graders are just old enough to have big ideas and can do something about them. And yet their minds are wide open that everything's possible. And they're very optimistic about all kinds of things. So I asked them if they could take and make some drawings. We must add 50 submitted from 5th grade kids. And then we had people go through and sort through and pick out the ones they liked the best. We settled on 4 designs. And once we did that, we had to get Buffalo. Didn't know where to go for that, so the people in Custer said go to an outfit in Chicago, which I contacted them.
Oh, you don't say Chicago.
Yes, Chicago. Anyway, introduced myself to the folks there. This was all on by phone. Had some great talks. Well, anyway, this was during the pandemic. Guess what? They told me there aren't any buffalo in the storeroom. We have no intention of making any because we don't know when we're going to have help to do it. We're sorry. Well, this was a great, big idea, but couldn't do anything. Well, the next thing, a couple weeks go by, and the people at the company called me up and said, we don't understand this, but our inventory says there are no buffalo. We found 2 buffalo. Were you asking for 2? And I said, yes. Well, we've got 2, but because of the pandemic, there's no way to get them to you. So I thought, okay, another dead end. I started having a conversation with my stepbrother. He happened to drive a truck. He talked to 2-3 other people, and his boss said, we have a semi 3 blocks from where you want to pick these buffalo up. We'll haul them to South Dakota. So now we got to find an artist. Because we had these student designs, we had to have somebody to paint them. So we end up with, called Sherry Ramsdale, who's an artist over by Mitchell, and connected with a college student at Dakota Wesleyan who wanted to take and be involved. And then the trucking company took them right to their door. And after they took those kids' drawings, and we had 4 designs we liked, and they made a different design. Each student's idea showed up then on each side of the buffalo. And we called them Unity Buffalo. And the reason it mattered, or the way it come about, was when I talked to the Yankton Sioux Tribe, and I also talked to the Chamber of Commerce. I said, I want this to be a partnership. And I've been complaining about there's not enough of that. So we decided that the Yankton Sioux Tribe would pay for 1/2 of one buffalo and 1/2 of the other buffalo. Chamber of Commerce would pay the other half. That way they were automatically now partners. And it would stay that way. And we'll have a plaque on each side that states this. Now, for years to come, we have one time we did something together. Now let's look for number 2.
Yeah.
That's been the message all along.
And it's pretty awesome too, Dana. You were showing me pictures of each design. I know some had Mount Rushmore with the flag, and then there's some tribal symbols on there as well. Buffalo is pretty easy to pick because when you think South Dakota, you
automatically
pheasants or bison.
Yes.
One of the two.
Yep, that's exactly right.
And where will the Unity Buffalo be located?
They'll be located. They'll be listed on the opposite side of the lake of where the park is, or where the bulk of the park is. We want people to drive through Wagner, stop, get out of their car, and walk around the lake over to these things. They're not sure what they are. They get over there and they see these beautifully painted buffalo. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to take and notice that the other side of the buffalo is completely different than the other side, and they're going to get a chance to see who designed them, because the fifth grade students' names are on a plaque, along with the artist and the fact that it's a partnership with the Yankton Sioux Tribe and the Wagner Chamber of Commerce, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is really awesome. If you are just listening, again, I'm in the studio with Dana Sanderson, and he brought along with him juniors at Wagner High School, Sabrina and Jennifer, talking about the 605 Unity Jam in Wagner on Sunday, June 11th. Now, all right, guys, tell us about the activities that everyone can experience at the Unity Jam. Do you want to start off first, Sabrina? Yes, you do.
Sure. Some of the activities that will be there are going to be like the youth powwow, the Wagner Lake Unity Walk, the storytelling by the local elders, the cardboard box races, and the Czech kolache eating contest.
We also have arts and craft vendors along with food trucks. We have lots of musicians and entertainers coming. We also have a youth fishing clinic and fishing derby for the kids, and then a cultural presentation and demonstrations. Then we also have the traditional Czech and native dances.
Very cool. What are some of the presentations and demonstrations that are going to be going on? Is it dancing? Is it singing? Oh, what are we talking about?
Yeah, we have all sorts. So we have, of course, the powwow. So that's the native dancers. Then we also have lots of bands coming. So we have like Kobe Jordan coming, the Kings of Polka. We also have Indigenous, so lots of different bands, Phil and Friends, Uncle Goys and the Boys. We have Kara Hannon, Dakota Backroads, and then just some other entertainers coming. So
awesome. And Dana, I believe Indigenous, they performed at the Levin not too long ago, so they're actually a really big-time group.
Yeah, they travel all over the United States, and what's interesting, they're originally from Wagner.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think somehow I knew that, but then again, I didn't until you said it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty neat. In fact, when you start looking at some of these, like Kobe Jordan, for example, I was his father's school counselor. So that's the connection. When you're someplace forever, you end up everybody's your student at one point. But I think it's going to be great because we have like 7 different types of entertainment, and then during this whole event, we're trying to provide something for everybody who comes. So regardless of your cultural background, you're going to find something of interest here. We've never, ever been involved in a powwow. This is first for our event, but I've had several conversations with people that are even older than myself. No one remembers ever having anything like this held in Wagner. And so what people are saying is this is history in the making, and very, very happy about that.
Oh yeah, I can feel the history in the making.
Yeah. Yes, it's great. I know everybody that I've talked to can't wait for this.
Yeah.
So we're hoping a lot of people will come in from other areas. I know we've had some people ask about partnering because we're real close to Czech Days. And of course, some Czech dancers are going to come and demonstrate. And there's just a lot of things that people here. In fact, here's a good example, I guess. you'll take and ask somebody, you live 20 miles or 30 miles away from where these events are held, how many have you attended in your lifetime? And it's amazing how many people said, I've never, ever went.
Wow.
Even though these people are doing these things 20 miles from me, that kind of thing. So we're hoping that this will help break some of that down, because we want to interact with other communities as well, not just people in Wagner.
Yeah. So this event, it's all about culture, community, your heritage. So just to kind of wrap this up, I want to talk about your heritage, your background, your story. I'll start. I'm a mutt. So I'm Irish, Italian, German, Polish, Bohemian, Czech, smidge of English. I'm everything that you can think of. So Sabrina, let's hear your story.
Well, I am Czech, and I also do have a little bit of German in me, and I'm also Puerto Rican.
Look at that. The more you know. Jennifer?
So I'm a mix of things. I'm Irish, German, and Czech, and then I have a little bit of French too. Yeah.
Dana?
Well, I'm mostly English. All of my folks that came prior to us really, I would say, farming background. But the thing is that rural is what my history is, probably more than anything. But English should be where everybody started, because everybody we know, and I tell everybody, we all came from someplace except for the native people. Mm-hmm. They were already here. So let's find ways to interact and enjoy each other a whole lot more than we did yesterday. That's what I'm interested in.
Absolutely. Once again, it's Dana Sanderson, and he brought along with him Sabrina and Jennifer. Now, why should anybody attend the 605 UD Jam?
Like I mentioned before, just to gain more knowledge about different cultures so that you can have more respect. With knowledge comes respect. And just to celebrate each other's differences and realizing that we're all unique, just like everybody else. And it's what makes us human, our differences. And just bring each other together with our passions, with music, art, and culture.
I think the same thing that Jenny said. I agree. I also think that people should come because it's a reason for you to learn about other people and to do some activities with them and maybe learn a few things that you didn't know about them. Yeah, I think it would just be a fun time.
Awesome. And then Dana, just to wrap it up, where can people find out more information about the 605 Unity Jam and just to learn more? Well,
I think probably I would check out Facebook. That seems to be where everybody goes. We've had all kinds of people find us that way. Facebook, we're starting to see all kinds of things. We're getting contact. I think also South Dakota Magazine. We have information in the magazine, which I'm really tickled to say is an option for people to find out. But they can also go ahead and give us a call, and that phone number would be 605-491-0804, and that's my cell number, and that's a way for people to connect, and then we funnel you to whoever is going to be able to answer your question, if that's not me.
All right, awesome. Again, it's the 605 UD Jam happening in Wagner on Sunday, June 11th. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I'm Christine Manica, and you've been listening to Sunday Focus. I'd like to thank Dana Sanderson, Sabrina, and Jennifer of the 605 UD Jam for making the drive to Sioux Falls, for joining the program today. Once again, the 605 UD Jam is in Wagner on Sunday, June 11th. More details can be found on the group's Facebook page. Join us again next week for another edition of Sunday Focus.
You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use like anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes.
Hey bro, toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Sunday Focus is a public affairs program of Results Radio Town Square Media, Sioux Falls.